Alright boys, welcome back to Season 6. In this video, what we're going to be doing is going very in-depth into all the settings regarding your sensitivity and your binds, confirm edit on release or not, or to use double edit binds. Obviously in this video it's just going to be for keyboard and mouse players, although I do have a video dropping later today, probably an hour or two after this one, talking about all the controller player settings and all this good stuff for your controller. I will talk a bit about binds and confirm edit on release on controller, so it is going to be worth hitting that sub button to stay tuned for that one later, as these videos are going to be very in-depth and better than the average video that you would have seen on this topic. And I just got a fucking message that ruined my intro, but we're going to keep rolling with it. Starting off in settings, we're going to go, obviously I'm on PC. If you're not on PC, don't worry, I have timestamps in the timeline for you to skip through this. But display mode, obviously full screen, you'll get better frames. Resolution 1920 by 1080. If you do suffer frames, it's not so bad to go to 16 by 900, but you will get better input delay on this as well, but your game will look pretty trashy. But this is what I rock, obviously, for recording. My frame rate limit is 360 FPS, as I do play on a 280 Hz monitor, and I cannot cap it at 280. It's 240 or 360. So I cap it at 360, but from my NVIDIA driver, I cap it at 280, so it's all G. Brightness, I do play on 110% because I have been finding it difficult to see people, so higher in your brightness might not be a bad suggestion for the season. I haven't messed around with colorblind settings, so I don't know if we should be using them this season. I will do an updated video if that is if we are using colorblind settings. Now, graphics quality. Basically, view distance near, shadows off, anti-aliasing off. Textures epic, I'll explain that in a minute, but yeah, effects and post-processing off. The reason why I have textures epic is from a video Jerry did a long time ago, explaining that Fortnite is CPU bound, which means it uses more of your CPU than your GPU. So basically your GPU does be half asleep when playing Fortnite. It's not really needed. Now this only works with I would say 20 series cards. It might work on some 10 series cards, but it's worth a try. Just mess around, take a few notes of your frames before and after. Sometimes it works really well just leaving not putting it on epic, but leaving it on high. But basically what it does is it brings your GPU to life. Because your textures are epic, obviously textures are going to be like needing some of your GPU's help, but by putting them on epic, it allows you to use more of your GPU. So your GPU is just going to go into overdrive, which will give you more frames. It's hard to explain, but trust me, I will vouch for it. It's Jarian's tip. It's not my tip, so I'll put my faith on the line saying it's good, because I've been using it for like 3 seasons now and it's pretty nice. VSync off, motion blur off, show FPS, that's optional, but I prefer it on. Rendering mode, DirectX 12, I get so much better frames. I know people use performance mode, but I actually lose frames playing performance mode because I have DirectX 12 very optimized for my playstyle, and it just overall is much better and much more fun and enjoyable experience for me, especially with dual monitor. And I'm recording or streaming, DirectX 12, I can still like consistently get 280 frames, and I'm only on a single PC, so it's insane that I'm able to do that. Allow multi-threaded rendering. If you do have multiple cores in your, but basically just put it on, man. I would put it on even if you only have 2 threads or, you know, multiple cores. I would still put it on. It will help some way, shape, or form. Turn use GPU crash debugging off. Latency markers, I have that on just so I can see my ping. NVIDIA reflex low latency, I do suggest putting this on and boost, but if it does fuck with your frames a little bit and you're not satisfied, I would just put it on. I would never just leave it off though. If it is messing your frames up that bad, I would leave it on just off, but for me it's on plus boost all day long. Latency flash, you want that off. DLSS off. Ray tracing, all this shit off, because it's just bad for your frames in general. This will help frames, I'm pretty sure. No, DLSS. Deep learning super sampling. It basically uses Wi-Fi. You'll get higher ping though, so it just uses Wi-Fi, I think, to pull in frames. So it's not your graphics card doing them. It's like streamed frames, but I just leave it off, man. Don't mess with that shit. It will delay your sound and stuff. It's just not a fun time, from my experience anyway. Obviously, make sure your matchmaking region is on your actual thing. Don't leave this on auto. Put it on your actual region. And I don't think we need to go too much into this. I'll go quick scroll, but yeah, building and all, make sure I have all these on, because I do play confirm edit on release. But even if you don't have this, make sure you have all these on, these 3. especially disable pre-edit option that was introduced last season, which stops you from being able to pre-edit. So it's definitely a good option to throw that on. I'll talk a bit more about confirm edit on release later, but I want to go straight over to my sensitivity. Basically, on my X and Y axis, I play 7.6 with 800 DPI. I'm not sure what that eDPI is for that, but I know it's a low sensitivity. It is a bit higher than the likes of Mongrel and Bugga. It's considered a low sensitivity. Anything from 0 to 10, I would say, is considered a low sensitivity. From 10 to 20, you're looking at the medium, and at and after 20 is a super high sensitivity, and I would not mess with it. I know some people do prefer high sensitivity, but if you're talking about aim, it's way more beneficial to play low sensitivity. You get a thing called range of motion, an increased range of motion, which allows you to be more precise. So that's why people play low sensitivity, because it literally will give you better aim. It gives you more consistent aim. You can still have amazing aim on high sensitivity. It just means that when you do go to low sensitivity, you'll have even better aim. And if you're cracked and you've been on a sensitivity that's a bit too high, and you're playing really good on it, don't change it, man. Comfort does play a big role in sensitivity and binds and stuff like that, like whatever you're comfortable with. You've heard the saying, but you can be comfortable with anything after a lot of time, so it is worth adapting. But if you don't feel like you need to, there's no point. If you're playing good, if you've got earnings on that sensitivity, I wouldn't change it, because the muscle memory is probably very strong and it will do more damage than good. My targeting sensitivity, I do recommend anything less than 50%. So if the higher this is, the lower this goes, basically. I do play a very low ADS sensitivity. The boys from the stream know that. Once I get my hand cam up, that shit, like, my hand be fucking sliding across the desk 24/7, man. I'll be ice skating around my desk, not gonna lie. You can put these on or off. I don't think it does that unless you do have your controller plugged into your or controller, any other. If you have two keyboards, I would say like lock it, but whatever, man, it is what it is. I'm leaving it off because I'm going to be getting a Wu-Ting keyboard with controller movement soon, so I just left it off. But yeah, sensitivity, I recommend going low. That's just my personal preference myself. I could be biased, but as far as I'm aware, low sensitivity does improve aim, because every time I lower my sensitivity, I get better aim. I've played on some seriously low sensitivities and had insane aim, but it's just the fact that, you know, it's Fortnite, you need to be able to build, so you want a nice medium of slow to high, if you get me. Just a nice middleman is where you want to be, so you have great aim and you can still build and edit. That's basically where you want to lie. I've played games like COD and stuff on sensitivities half than this, like really low sensitivities, because I can. I've played with 6 sensitivity with 400 DPI. So what that would be is 4 sensitivity for 800 DPI, basically 3 or 4. Moving on though, that's sensitivity. If you have any questions, obviously let me know down below, because I can't cover everything, because I can't think of every question to answer. So, you know, let me know down below. That's controller. That's, like I said, for a different video. Sound, I don't think we need to go too much into it. Just use 3D headphones and use high sound quality. They're very important. And 3D sound or 3D headphones, very important, man. Unless you use visualized sound effects, that will turn 3D headphones off, I'm pretty sure. Yep. So I would recommend use 3D headphones instead, man, because if you use visualized sound effects, your eyes are going to be focused on the visuals, and you can't focus on your crosshair placement and stuff like that. And you literally need to look at the visualizer to know what you're seeing. Just allow your ears to take some of that pressure off, so your eyes can focus on the crosshair, your enemy. So, you know, use your sound, man. It's one of your 6 senses. It's there for a reason. Use it if you can. Obviously, if you can't, don't worry about it. Don't stress it. That's just voice chat. Binds. Let's go into these in depth. I'll scroll through the basic ones, you know. WASD, spacebar to jump, sprint. I have crouch as my left control. I think most people do. Obviously, I forgot to say, I have sprint by default on, so I hold W and I sprint. I recommend every player doing that. You can change that setting in here somewhere. Sprint by default, put that on. Now, back to binds. Left mouse button, right mouse button, I think, yeah. Reload or use mouse wheel up. So I scroll wheel up to pick up things, which is very useful. You can secondary bind this to like E or F or something like that if you're not using it. Or just G even, just to pick up things. So you can hold to pick up. It's a very good suggestion. Harvest tool, I don't have it in this. I have toggle harvesting tool. But yeah, weapon slots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 does be a bit of a stretch, and I know some people play with different binds. That's perfectly fine. Whatever you like, you know, whatever works best for you. Crouch while building, again, left control. Wall I have on my second mouse button, and so do I have my stairs, so that way I can wall ramp without taking any fingers off my movement, you know, so that's very good. And then again, my roof and my floor V and B, which is right above my spacebar, again, don't have to take anything off movement. So when I'm building, I don't have to take one finger off movement. That's why it's so optimal. Trap again, T. Place building is going to be my left mouse button. Upgrade is H, or repairing my walls, H. Rotate building or for rotate, I think that's just default. Change building material, right mouse button. Building edit, you know, left shift, mouse wheel down. Crouch while edit, again left control, and then select building edit is going to be left mouse button, and reset building edit is mouse wheel down. Same here, so I have my scroll wheel reset set up right. And obviously I do use left shift to edit, so again I don't have to take any fingers off my movement while editing or building. So basically 24/7 in a game my fingers are on my movement, except when I place a trap, reload, or not. I don't even have to take my fingers off to pick up, or the only time I have to take my fingers off movement is actually to swap weapons, if I'm being honest, or go into my inventory. Just more minimal roles. So building and editing, I don't have to take my fingers off movement. That's important because if I'm in a fight, it means my fingers stay on WASD, which is very, very helpful and allows me to be very, 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 very good in fights and very calm. I don't have to have my fingers jumping around my keyboard like a psychopath. And down here, this would be the last one, that my toggle harvesting tool is set to Q. So that's my pickaxe. I have toggle harvesting tool, so I can press Q to pull out my pickaxe, and then press Q again, and then it will pull out my last weapon. So if I have my shotgun going up to someone's wall, and then I press Q, it will pull out my pickaxe. And then if I press Q again, it will swap to my pump. So I can pull my pickaxe out, swing, and press Q again, and swap to my pump. So, you know, very helpful. I think that's all I have in the video, like nothing else pretty useful. That again, there for controller tips. So yeah, that's all we have, man. If the video did help you out some way, shape or form, make sure you hit the sub button most importantly, so you stay up to date with all the best Fortnite tips worldwide, man. We're doing the best tips on YouTube, I can guarantee you that right now. Ask anybody in the comments, they will tell you, they will back me, man. They're the family, they're the goats. I'm out of here, man. Hope to see you around on another video, especially this controller one coming up if you are my controller players. Talk to you later.